21 lessons for the 21st century education. The heat is on. Besides information, most schools also focus too much on providing students with a set of predetermined skills, such as solving differential equation, writing computer code in C++, identifying chemical in a test tube, or conversing in Chinese. Yet, since you have no idea what the world and the job market will look like in 2050, we don't really know what particular skill people will need. We might invest a lot of effort teaching kids how to write in C++ or speak Chinese, only to discover that by 2050 AI can code software far better than humans, and the new Google Translate app will enable you to conduct a conversation in almost flawless Mandarin, Cantonese, or Hakka, even though you only know how to say ni hao. So, what should we be teaching? Many pedagogical experts argue that schools should switch to teaching the 4Cs: critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. More broadly, they believe schools should downplay technical skill and emphasize general purpose life skill. Most important of all will be the ability to deal with change, learn new things, and preserve your mental balance in unfamiliar situations. In order to keep up with the world of 2050, we need not merely to invent new ideas and products, but above all to reinvent yourself again and again. For as the pace of change increases, not just the economy, but the very meaning of being human is likely to mutate. Already in 1848, the Communist Manifesto declared that all that is solid melt into air. Marx and Engels, however, were thinking mainly about social and economic structure. By 2048, physical and cognitive structure will also melt into air or into a cloud of data bit. In 1848, millions of people were losing their jobs on village farms and were going to the big city to work in factories. But upon reaching the big city, they were unlikely to change their gender or to add a sixth sense. And if they found a job in some textile factory, they could expect to remain in that profession for the rest of their working lives. By 2048, people might have to cope with migration to cyberspace with fluid gender identities and with new sensory experience generated by computer implant. If they find both work and meaning, the designing up to the might passion for the 3D virtual reality game. Within a decade, not just this particular profession, but all jobs demanding this level of artistic creation might be taken over by AI. So, at 21st, you might introduce yourself on a dating site as a 25 years old heterosexual woman who lives in London and works in fashion shop. At 35, you might say you are a gender non-specific person undergoing age adjustment whose neocosal activity take place mainly in the new cosmos virtual world, and whose life mission is to go where no fashion designer had gone before. At 45, both dating and self-definition are so facile. You just wait for an algorithm to find or create the perfect match for you. As for drawing meaning from the art of fashion design, you are so irrevocably outclassed by the algorithm that looking at your crowning achievement from the previous decade fills you with embarrassment rather than pride. And at 45, you still have many decades of radical change ahead of you. Please don't take this scenario literally. Nobody can predict the specific change we will witness in the future. Any particular scenario is likely to be far from the truth. In someday describe the if somebody described the world of the mid-21st century to you and it sounds like science fiction, it's probably false. But then again, if somebody described the world of the mid-21st century to you and it doesn't sound like science fiction, it's certainly false. We cannot be sure of the specifics. Change itself is the only certainty. Such profound change may well transform the basic structure of life, making this continuity its most salient feature. From time immemorial, life was divided into two complementary parts. A period of learning followed by a period of working. In the first part of life, you accumulated information, developed skill, construct a worldview, and build a stable identity. Even if at 15, you spend most of the day working in your family's rice field rather than in a formal school. The most important thing you were doing was learning how to cultivate rice, how to conduct negotiation with the greedy rice merchant from the big city, and how to resolve conflict over land and water with other villagers. In the second part of life, you relied on your accumulated skill to navigate the world, earn a living, and contribute to society. Of course, even at 50, you continue to learn new things about rice, merchant, and conflict, but there are just small tweaks to your well-honed ability. By the middle of the 21st century, accelerating change plus longer lifespan will make this traditional model obsolete. Life will come apart at the seam, and there will be a less and less continuity between different periods of life. Who am I? Will be a more urgent and complicated question than ever before. This is likely to involve immense level of stress, for change is almost always stressful, and after a certain age, most people just don't like to change. When you are 15, your entire life is changing, your body is growing, your mind is developing, your relationships are deepening. Everything is in flux, and everything is new. You are busy inventing yourself. Most teenagers find it frightening, but at the same time, it's also exciting. New vistas are opening before you, and you have an entire world to conquer. By the time you are 50, you don't want to change, and most people have given up conquering the world. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. You prefer stability. You have invested so much in your skill, your career, your identity, and your worldview that you don't want to start all over again. The harder you've worked on building something, the more difficult it is to let go of it and make room for something new. You might still cherish new experience and minor adjustment, but most people in their 50s aren't ready to overhaul too deep structure of their identity and personality. There are neurological reasons for this. Though the adult brain is more flexible and volatile than the once thought, is still less malleable than the teenage brain. Reconnecting neuron and rewiring synapse is hard work, but in the 21st century, you can't afford stability. If you try to hold on to some stable identity, job, or worldview, you risk being left behind as the world flies by you with foolish. Given the life expectancy is likely to increase, you might subsequently have to spend many decades as a clueless fossil to stay relevant, not just economically, but above all socially. You will need to ability to constantly learn and to reinvent yourself, suddenly at a young age like 50. As strangeness becomes the new normal, your past experience, as well as the past experience of the whole of humanity, will become less reliable guide. Human individual and humankind as a whole will increasingly have to deal with things nobody ever encountered before, such as super intelligent machine, engineered body, algorithm that can manipulate your emotion with uncanny precision, rapid man-made climate catalysts, and the need to change your profession every decade. What's the right thing to do in confronting a completely unprecedented situation? How should you act when you are flooded by enormous amount of information and there is absolutely no way you can absorb and analyze it all? How do you live in a world where profound uncertainty is not a bug but a feature? To survive and flourish in such a world, you will need a lot of mental flexibility and great level reservoirs of emotional balance. You will have to repeatedly let go of some fun know best and learn to feel at home with the unknown. Unfortunately, teaching kids to embrace the unknown while maintaining their mental balance is far more difficult than teaching them to equation and physics or the cause of the First World War. You cannot learn resilience by reading a book or listening to a lecture. Teachers themselves usually lack the mental flexibility that the 21st century demand, since they themselves are the product of the world educational system. The Industrial Revolution has bequeathed us the production line theory of the education. In the middle of town, there is a large concrete building divided into many identical rooms, each room equipped with a row of desks and chairs. At the sound of a bell, you go to one of these rooms together with 30 other kids who were all born the same year as you. Every hour of a different group walks in and start talking. The grown-up are all paid to do so by the government. One of them tell you about the shape of us, another tell you about the human past, and the third tell you about the human body. It's easy to laugh at this model. Almost everybody agree that no matter its past achievement, it's now bankrupt. But as far we haven't created a viable alternative, certainly not a scalable alternative that can be implemented in rural Mexico rather than just in wealthy California suburbs.